Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation and the 2023 BYU football season preview special. He is Jerem, I am Spencer. Let's talk defense, shall we, with the new defensive coordinator Jay Hill in charge, and bring in former NFL and BYU linebacker David Nixon to break it down position by position. David, welcome, bro. The offense is going fast, going harder, so we need you to respond.
Yeah, I like this. I like this.
Beginning with one of the largest question marks on the defensive line, your defensive tackle preview. Some familiar names there. What do you think of the group overall?
Well, I love what they've done. They brought in some transfers, right? You look at Cravens and what he's able to do to kind of bolster the interior. You've got Caden Haas. You got Atunasa Mahe. So you got some guys who have had some starts. And this is the thing. This defense had some growing pains earlier on a couple years ago because you had young guys playing, and now it's starting to pay dividends. You've got guys with significant starts underneath their belts, especially the nose tackle, the defensive tackle position that's going to provide that depth.
Sure.
Because we all know that line, the defensive line, they rotate every 2 or 3 plays. And so you need some depth there to be able to rotate those guys in and out. And that's exactly what Mahe, Cravens, and Caden Haas help you with.
Throw in John Nightmare Nelson.
Yep, who's moved
from in to inside. That's right. And Nelson is a guy who, as we saw him at the defensive end, wreaked havoc with multiple sacks throughout the season. You move him now inside, so you have a more agile, big body there in the inside, and that's huge help as well.
The biggest addition there is Sione Puha. As the coach. He'll make a difference, man. Edge preview. Certainly Tyler Batty leads this group, and then Isaiah Banya is a nice add from Boise State.
Isaiah Banya, I love his game. Watching him in practice and the way he moves, and the fact that, Kelly Papinga basically brings him over from Boise State when he came here. But then you put you put Tyler Batty on the other side, and now you've got 2 bona fide studs on the outside. And I love the depth there as well. I'm a little shout out to my nephews, the Daly brothers. Both those guys are rotating as well. Just talking to Kalani, looks like Michael Daly's working in with the 2s now. And so you've got a lot of depth on the outside for those guys too. But you look at the starters. I think Batty and Isaiah Bagner, those are 2 guys that are bona fide studs.
Okay.
The killer bees.
And you need, in the Big 12, you're going to need pressure on the outside. You go against teams like Texas Tech, Kansas, they're going to air it out. You've got to have some pressure on the outside. I think those 2 guys definitely bring that to the table.
Blake Mangleson also in the mix there, and a different defense, no doubt about it. What I heard they say a one gap defense where they just make one read and you go, baby.
And that's what you almost simplify the defense, and you tell your kids, hey, you've got the B gap, you got the C, you got the A, and now you play fast. Now you're firing off the ball, and I think when you know what you're doing, and there's no indecision in your mind, when you know that you've got a certain gap. Man, you can play with confidence, and you play that much faster. And that's exactly what has happened with this defense. And then you throw in the blitzes and the different looks, and that's what motivates a defense, right?
Yes,
you're able to play fast when you have confidence, but now you're able to be motivated because you know that they're going to allow you to get after the quarterback. Because that's every defense guy, I don't care if you're a cornerback, you want to get a sack. That's what matters. And that's exactly what Jay Hill's dialing up for this defense is ways to get after the quarterback and wreak havoc.
Okay, your position, backers.
Oh, man. The linebacker position is loaded. This might be, I feel like we kind of say this every year, but in seriousness,
we do.
You look at this position and you look at the starts. Okay, so let's start in the middle backer with Ben Bywater.
Yep.
Coming off 20 starts, he's led the team in tackles for 2 consecutive years. First time that's been done since Fred Warner.
We think it's going to be 3.
I wouldn't be surprised. Then you look at Max Tooley on the other side, 21 starts underneath his belt, so that's 41 starts between the 2.
3 pick sixes last year.
Unbelievable instincks. These guys are fantastic on the edges. And at the edge, AJ. I just say AJ because for me, yeah, I'll stay with AJ. But AJ comes in with 33 career starts. So between the 3 linebackers, you have 74 career starts.
Awesome.
That's unbelievable. You couldn't ask for more as you head into the Big 12 with experience from that linebacker core. And the hope there is that these guys get to just flow, right? I mean, you've got good size on all of them, but they're all great runners. And I think that's the exciting part. You can drop them into coverage, similar to what Brian Keel and I had to do back in the day.
Yes.
We saw from Fred Warner and those guys, where they can come up and help with the run. They've got to be able to drop into the pass. And that's what these backers bring to the table. They've got speed on the outside, great instincts. But I'm really, really excited about that linebacker.
Versatility and athleticism. You throw in the Oregon transfer, Harrison Taggart. Ammon Hanneman has moved from safety up to linebacker. And I know the coaches really love Isaiah Glasker there, too. So the depth looks pretty good.
The depth looks great. And the good thing about this defense, once again, is you can move some of those outside edge guys back to linebacker and vice versa, depending on the needs and depending on the offense you're facing that week. And so there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of versatility with this defensive unit.
Okay, cornerback. You got Jacob Robinson, full-time corner. Eddie Heckard's come in from Weber State, which would be awesome. They've got some depth there as well.
Yeah, I feel like corner in the secondary for BYU has always been kind of a question mark. This year, you look at the guys that have come in. Eddie Heckard, you go watch him in one-on-ones. He absolutely dominates. It's a blast to watch. He's a technician, and the way that he's able to move his body and the way he's able to D up those wide receivers, especially these BYU wide receivers they're pretty good guys, pretty skilled. Heckard is honestly might go down just in the 1 year. Might go down as one of the better cornerbacks to have played here. Then, as you mentioned, Jacob Robinson, tons of experience bringing to the table. And let me retrace a little bit. The thing I love about Heckard, too, is he played underneath this Jay Hill defense at Weber State.
He knows. Yep.
And so he knows the defense already. So he now becomes almost that captain in that defensive room saying, hey, this is how it's run. This is how we play off each other. And you talked to Kalani. I was talking to him just a minute ago after he left the show. He said Eddie's one of those guys that just loves film. Him and AJ are just sitting there. They just film junkies. Any spare minute they have, they say, let's draw another clip. And that's what you want. And with those transfers in, you want them to push the other players to say, hey, this is how it's done elsewhere. This is how it should be done here. And I think that's exactly what's happening there on that cornerback room and with all these transfers.
Yeah, Gennaro Guilford said he wants that cornerback position primarily like 3 guys that play. Cam Garrett and Maury Bamba are gonna compete for that 3rd spot. The safeties, we just talked to Kalani as well about how to replace Micah Harper. Like, you can't exactly. Physical, really leadership role player for this safety group. But you do have Malik Moore, who brings a lot of experience, Talon Alfrey, and Ethan Slade, I've heard, has been one of the surprises of camp.
Yeah, you go out there and watch Ethan Slade, and this is a guy that kind of jumps off the paper. One that, there's always some sleepers in camp. Guys that show up that are in better shape than you thought they'd be, or that are more prepared than you thought they'd be, and Ethan Slade's one of those guys. And I think that he's going to add some much-needed depth there. But Malik Moore, very veteran guy who's been on the back end. He's going to be kind of the captain on the secondary. And then, as you mentioned, Talon Alfrey, but Slade is the one that I would not be surprised to see him get significant reps, if not maybe even start, depending on the defense they decide to roll out against Sam Houston State, here in a couple weeks. And so, that's a player I'm keeping my eye on. But I love the secondary. We throw in, as you mentioned, Jacob Robinson, Malik Moore. And then you throw in the corners. This secondary is very solid. And keep in mind that they're going to have some help from that defensive, front 7-8, depending on how often they can get after the quarterback. But these corners in this defense, you don't have to be you're going to be on an island, but you don't have to guard for too long. The hope is that you get home within a couple seconds, right? And so can you resist the long ball? But they're going to have plenty of opportunities for interceptions because that ball is going to be coming out quick, and hopefully it's going to be disrupted. And the timing will hopefully be off between the quarterback and the wide receiver, and you have opportunities to jump routes and create some turnovers. So that's the exciting part for those guys is understanding what their role is and their chance to get some big-time turnovers.
David, you're making me feel like I'm underselling this team as a 7-win team. Like, Blaine makes me want to go to 8. This makes me want to go to 8.
And if you want more breakdown, app further review coming up tonight, 7 Eastern on the BYUtv.
I love that. Thanks for hanging out and a great breakdown of the defense.
Yeah, always fun, guys. Appreciate it.